Hey, what is going on, guys? This is XMAV Reviews, and today we're taking a look at the debut album from Billie Eilish titled When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Let's get to it. I ran a poll on Twitter, so if you don't follow me on Twitter, go check it out. Link is always in the description. But I ran a poll on Twitter to see what people wanted me to review most. This one is the one that won, followed by the Strumbellas. I did get to the Strumbellas first, mainly because I just, when I first posted it, it was early in the morning. Votes came in slow, so I wasn't sure who was going to take it. So I just started on one that I wanted to do. Ended up working out great as it was the second place, but here is the one that won. And I get why. Billie Eilish has got a ton of hype surrounding her. She has since her debut EP. And, she never necessarily resonated with me a lot, but I do have respect for her. Her songwriting is different and unique, and yet she's still breaking into the mainstream, and I think that that's really awesome and really good for her because she is doing something a little different than what we hear. She does have a very alternative sound. It's hard to really necessarily define her in a category because she is very pop, but she does have a very dark and atmospheric sort of sound with each of her songs. And the more singles we got off this album, I wasn't necessarily interested. And before I'm put on the stake, because I know everyone is in love with this album, I just wasn't enjoying it. There are some good songs. There actually were some really good songs that came out as singles, but some of them just didn't quite capture my attention. You Should See Me in a Crown was not a song that ever resonated with me, though a lot of people enjoyed it. It had some very skittering percussion, and again, very dark. It's a very dark and moody album, but yet it doesn't do anything for me. I wanted it to, but it just doesn't. And there's a couple reasons I think that is. Billie Eilish definitely does have an interesting persona. She is unique and different, and I think that works for her really well. It's probably what has helped propel her into her current status. And she's really young, and I have a ton of respect for that. But her voice doesn't do anything for me. It really doesn't. She doesn't have a strong voice, in my opinion. And while it sometimes works for the slower crooning on some of these songs, she just doesn't have the vocal presence to really capture my attention. Couple that with very, very intense production choices, her voice kind of falls flat in the mix. It doesn't really do anything, and kind of does have a sharp contrast, as the production is so loud and overbearing. The bass especially is huge on this album, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but couple that with her more soft-spoken delivery style, it doesn't always come across probably as well as she hopes it will. Before I necessarily get into examples where it doesn't work, let me give credit where it's due. Bury a Friend was the lead single off of the album, and it is a song that actually works great. It is a really excellent cut from the album, as it is a little more subdued. There's a lot of really spooky sounds that come up. I want to give full credit where it's due, just so I don't come across as plagiarizing any ideas. ARTV actually called this album eerie, and I do have to give him credit. That is an excellent word to describe a lot of this, and especially this song, as there's some scratching sounds. There's a lot of vocal manipulation to give a second voice that's much deeper, a little spooky, and the instrumentation is very atmospheric and just dark, with the synthesizers pulsating throughout the whole song. A really excellent song with the darker lyrical content. It's a really dark song, and her softer crooning actually works perfectly in this song. This is the highlight of the album, I do have to say, just because it does complement her voice, and the production and her voice work hand in hand in this song. You Should See Me in a Crown and My Strange Addiction are two examples where the production just kind of overbears her. My Strange Addiction I will just talk about briefly, as it does sample some of The Office, the episode Threat Level Midnight, a classic episode from the show, which is funny. It has its, it gave me a laugh first time I heard it, because for a second I go, wait, why do I know that voice? Instantly, then I figured it out. But it's funny and it's different, but both of these songs just have percussion specifically that way overbear her voice. Past that, honestly, I just don't find the music that interesting. Yeah, it's dark and atmospheric, but there's other dark music that is way more interesting than this. I think that the main thing that this album has going for it is an album that's so dark and creepy, and yet it's doing successful in the mainstream. That's what's different about it. And, credit to her. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for the fact that she can do that, and I think that that is awesome. That being said, it still does not click with me personally, and I wish it did. I really do, because I know so many people are giving this such high praise, but it doesn't connect with me in any way, and lyrically even, it's kind of lacking. I mean, Zanny, one example. It's just about how you don't need drugs, and okay, it's a fine song. Wish You Were Gay is just about how she's pursuing someone and wants to have a selfish reason as to why they're not pursuing her back. It's different, I guess. It's a different take on the topic, but even then, I just multiple times just have to roll my eyes at the lack of interesting content, which, yes, she is admitting. She's being very self-deprecating, and I think that there is some very nice self-awareness there, but ultimately, this album just does nothing for me, and I wish it did. I wish it did for me what it does for a lot of people, and I do have a lot of respect for it. There are some good songs, and it's not a bad album by any means. It just doesn't do as much as I would like it to, and despite the fact that this review is more ultimately negative, it's still an alright album. It's just not as amazing as a lot of people would like to say it is. Ultimately, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so incredibly much for watching this video. It really does mean a lot to me. What did you think of this album? Please let me know down below. Also, is there any upcoming albums you'd like me to check out? Go check out my Twitter, as I said. Links in the description. I do also have a link to all of my YouTube friends that I've made. Go check them out. All awesome people. Besides that, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later.